everyone, and welcome to Stamp and Chat. I am Gina from Gina K Designs, and I'm so excited to have you here with me tonight. The sun is in my eyes here, but that's okay. It's a beautiful day. It was cool today here in Wisconsin, and I want to welcome everybody here from all over the country, all over the USA, and all over the world. I see people from everywhere here, and I'm so excited to have you all with me. So tonight's topic, the topic is about real friendship. And you know, there's a big difference between people who are friendly to you because you're useful to them and a person who's being a real friend. Never regret being a good person to the wrong people. Your behavior says everything about you, and their behavior says everything about them. Real friends hear you when you're quiet. And true friendship isn't about being inseparable. It's being separated and nothing changes. Real friends are those rare people who ask how you are, and then they wait to hear the answer. And a real friend makes your problems their problems, just so you don't have to go through them alone. Well, I'm so excited to have you here. I promise I'll have a final quote of the night, but I think it's time that we do some crafting. This has been a crazy week all over the place. I'm sure a lot of you feel the same way. And I was thinking about it, and Father's Day is not that far away. But Father's Day, we can always kind of think about one card to make for Father's Day, but I was thinking about just masculine cards in general. So I thought I'd do a couple different masculine cards for you tonight. And if you're stamping along with me, you might have some of these stamp sets that I'm going to use. I honestly grabbed just a pile of stamp sets that I thought would work well. I don't even have cardstock cut up to the right size or anything like that, but we'll just do it together. So the first card that I want to make, and I know a lot of you have this set, but maybe not, maybe some of my newer friends don't have this set. And this is the set called Ocean Minded. Now, if you look at this set on the website and you see that, you probably think, what the heck is that? In fact, my daughter Rena from Gina K Designs, she designed this stamp set. And when she sent this thing to me, she just sent me this. She had just drawn it on her iPad and she said, Mom, I want to make this a stamp. I said, it looks like a hairball, like something you pull out of the drain. And she said, no, Mom, it's a wave. I'm telling you, it's going to look really good. So I got a set produced and I said, well, I'm going to try it because I don't have your vision here, but I want to see if I can make something with it. And I love it. It is so much fun. So it's a great stamp set for anybody, girls, guys, anybody, but it's just the right time of the year to start thinking about the beach. So we're going to make a beach card using this stamp set, the Ocean Minded stamp set. So let me flip the camera around here. Let me grab a piece of cardstock, and I'm going to need my paper cutter. Oh, I hope you all have your jammies on. I have a sweatshirt on tonight because it was a beautiful day, but it was a little chillier than it has been over the last week, I guess. And so I felt like I wanted to wear a cozy sweatshirt. So I hope you guys are all cozy too. All right, so let me flip to the overhead. And I'm going to cut down this piece of cardstock to 3 3/4 inches by 5 inches, which for those of you that have watched me over the last 9 or 10 weeks, you know that is one of my favorite cuts for making cards. So I'm going to start by creating the colors for the ocean. So if you've never used this set before, you might be thinking, well, like, how does that even work? I have seen a few people use it in this direction as the wave, but actually the way it's meant to be used is this way. So this is the white foam, these two streaky lines here. And then this is kind of a combination of foam and kind of the look of glistening water. So I'm going to do mine on an angle like that, and that's going to leave me room right here to put a nice greeting. So what we're going to do to start is we're going to do some sand. We have to start with sand. And the perfect color for sand is none other than sandy beach. So sandy beach is going to be my sand, and I'm going to use one of the Picket Fence Studios life-changing brushes. I don't know, you know, all of my brushes are so full of ink, so I want to see what color. That looks a little blue. I've got one here. That looks pretty empty. Has a little bluish on it, but we'll see what happens. So I'm going to start by really loading up this brush well with some sandy beach. And then I'm going to start over here on this corner, and I'm going to blend some sandy beach onto the cardstock. Now, normally you want a crystal clear, smooth blend, but sand really isn't that smooth. So it's okay if it's a little bit rough looking, because that kind of makes it look more natural. All right. Keep going with that. Now, it may seem like I'm going back a little bit far into the water area, but remember, the ocean floor is sand. So where the water is super shallow, you actually see more of the sand color than you do the blue color, right? Okay, we'll do a little bit more right here. Okay. So I'm going to leave that like that. No, I'm going to go up there. I'm going to leave that like that, and then I'm going to start working on some blue. So the first color of blue I'm going to use is sea glass. Sea glass is that pretty pale blue that's perfect for the shallow water. So I have another Picket Fence Studio life-changing brushes. I do have a couple of these sets because I do so much ink blending that, you know, I like to have more than one. So I'm going to go all over this part here. Now, you don't need more than one set of brushes. I'm not saying that you need to run out and get more. You can certainly clean them in between use, and they're very easy to clean. I clean mine, unless it's a really bright, vibrant color, like bright. I clean mine just by rubbing it onto a tidy towel and then rubbing it onto a paper towel. And then it's usually ready for the next color, especially when I'm doing light colors like this. Okay, so you can see now I am kind of getting that greenish look right here. And that is where the wave is going to break, between the sand and the blue. So that's where it's going to break. All right, a little bit more. I'm going to get more of this color back in here. And then I'm trying to decide what my next color is going to be, but I think I'm going to do turquoise sea, because I do want it to get deeper down here, because this is going to be the look. And it's like you're looking kind of on an angle at the wave. And then as the water gets deeper, it's going to get a little darker. So let me grab my turquoise sea, and we'll get a little bit of that color in there. I'm going to use the same brush because it's the same shade. It's the same tone, so that shouldn't be a problem. And I'm just darkening it up down here. Not too much, just a little bit. In other words, I'm not going too close to my shore, but I want that color to get darker back here. See how that looks? Now, if you've never blended with our inks before, one thing that definitely happens is as this ink dries, it starts to look like it's airbrushed. It's so smooth and beautiful. Okay, so now I have my very shallow water here. I've got my water that's going into the sand that's starting to look a little bit green. And then back here, I've got much deeper water, so that's darker. Okay, does that all make sense? All right, so that's just 3 colors, but already it kind of feels like the ocean, doesn't it? Don't you kind of feel like you're at the ocean when you look at that? All right, so let me close up my ink pads and put my brushes away. Now, something that's very important when you're going to stamp embossing ink over ink that you just put down, you definitely want to make sure that you use the embossing magic pad to kind of dry everything up. The darker color, I just saw that question go by, the darker color is turquoise sea, and then sea glass is the lighter color, and then sandy beach is the sand. Okay, so I'm going to just tap this all over. and then kind of wipe away the excess. Whew, that's dusty. Okay, so now it's time to stamp. And I'm going to use my Misty for this, I think. Let me see how I can put it in here for it to work. I might have to tape it down somewhere. So let's see. Maybe if I put it right at that 2-inch mark, I can just put the magnet there. And then let me get the stamp out. So the stamp I'm using is this Ocean Wave. And I'm going to put the Ocean Wave right across on an angle like that. Okay, it's a big stamp. So I definitely want that white to come up onto the sand a little bit, like that. But I want it to be in that greenish hue, so that it looks like more wet sand. All right, so let's see how this looks. I'm going to pick that up. Everything stayed in place. That's good. So I'm going to use some of the Gina K Designs embossing and watermark ink. Debbie was so good to me this week. She handed me one and she said, you know, we have a good embossing ink. And I see you using Versamark, which is also a good embossing ink. So if you have that, please use that. But this is a great ink. And I don't always have it with me. Sometimes I take it over to the studio at work. Okay, so I'm inking this up real well. Definitely, it's a big stamp, so you want to get a lot of ink on it. Okay, and here we go. So now I have a sleeve tonight, so I'm going to use my sleeve to make sure I get good contact on all of this. Okay, I think that should do it. Okay. Well, I already see something happening. It's neat because that embossing ink kind of pulls some color off a little bit, and you can almost see the little squiggles starting to form. So I'm going to use some of the white embossing powder now. All right. So there's the white embossing powder. Isn't that cool? Oh, I love it. Okay, and then I'm going to heat this up with my heat tool. And let me get my embossing ink out of the way. All right. So let me heat that up. Now, one thing I saw Rena do with this is she actually blended a little bit of darker ink right along the shore. I might take a shot and do that. I've never done that before, but it makes the sand look a little more wet. Oh, I like it. My heat tool wasn't very hot, so it's taking a little longer to emboss than it usually does. But look at that. Isn't that fun? The wave coming in, kind of looking on an angle. Oh, I like it. Okay, so I think I'm going to get one of the really tiny Picket Fence Studio brushes. So let me find one. I have them all over the place. But those are hiding in my cabinet. So give me one sec. Okay. So I have one here, and I don't know if that has any ink on it. I feel like it does. Oh, it does. It has a little bit of yellow. So let me get my my tidy towel here. So when I clean it, I like to just kind of rub the bristles over the tidy towel, because these bristles are like plastic bristles, and so it really just kind of cleans up the edges of the brush. And you see there's like way less there now. But I do that because I really want to dry it and get that little bit of excess off. Okay, now I'm going to be brave. I'm going to use a tiny bit of craft ink. Okay, just a little bit. I'm a little nervous. Oh, it's just a card, right? We can make it again if we have to. Okay, there we go. I want to make sure that's the right color. Okay. So now I'm not going to reload ink on that. I'm just going to kind of go along the edge here. Just to see if that makes the sand look a little more wet. That makes it look a little more wet, right? Get that out of there. So I think I was a little heavy-handed there, but in general, do you get the idea how that makes the sand look more wet? I could go a little darker everywhere. Let's try it. Let's be brave. Kind of go in there. It's really just like kind of using a almost like a marker. You know how you kind of accent some of your designs? You might have a little teddy bear or something, then you go around it with a gray marker and it just makes it pop out a little bit more. Okay, so there, that makes my sand look a little bit more wet. Okay, so now I'm telling you, this stamp, this whole kind of oceany idea, I mean, a wave is always so appropriate. Everybody loves the beach. I love the beach, and I know my husband loves the beach, so he would probably love getting a beach card. You can put any greeting on that. Happy Father's Day, happy birthday, anything you want. Now I'm going to go back over this part of the wave just a little bit. I'm using the same brush that had that sea glass and turquoise on it, but I'm not actually, I didn't reload it. I'm just using what's left there just to get a little more blue into that water. And then I'll use my paper towel just to wipe off the embossing powder. Okay. All right, so now we're going to put a greeting on here. So there's so many different greetings that you can use from this set. And what's fun about these greetings is they're kind of written in like a sandy print. So like if you had happy birthday down there, it would actually look like it was written in the sand. You could put a big heart in there. So that looks like a sand, like you kind of did it with your finger or something. Or your hand, because that would be a big sky view. And then you could put I love you in the center of it. That would be a really nice Father's Day card. Because I love my husband, and I would give him a card like that. Should I do that? Should I try it? I'll try it. Okay. So I'm sure he's watching tonight and going, oh, that's good to know. I'm glad to know you love me. Let me see. Should I use my Misty for this? Yeah, I think I better, just in case. So, and of course, you could just, I'm sure you guys have lots of stamps in your collection that are kind of in a masculine font that say Happy Father's Day. You could certainly put that in there, but I think I'm going to do this. And I feel like if I stamp it in Sandy Beach, when it dries, it might disappear. So maybe I'll stamp it first with Sandy Beach to see what it looks like, to make sure it's not too dark or too light. But I think Craft might be the ticket. Yeah, I don't think we're going to see this enough, like when it dries, because the colors match pretty closely. That's kind of cool. I feel like I need to like wait and see what happens. Maybe I'll leave it like that. And I'll stamp I love you on it. And then when we come back to it at the end of the show, if it's gone, then I'll just restamp it again. Love you. Thank you. You can put anything in there. You could use other stamps. And look, it has little footprints for the sand. It has little paw prints. I love that. This is a very creative set. So I'll stamp I love you in there in the same Sandy Beach. Okay. Let's ink that up real well. We could always go darker. If you feel like yours needs more of a pop, you certainly can do that. But what do you guys think? I love that. I think it's so cute. That's really cute. I'm glad I tried it with Sandy Beach first because I do think that might be dark enough. Because our inks do really blend well with our cardstock, but some of our lighter colors may just be a shade darker than the cardstock, which is nice because then you can do blending with it and stuff. I mean, they really do match nicely, like if you're ink blending. If I were to ink blend with Sandy Beach, it would probably be this color, but direct stamping, you might, you get a little bit more of an impression. All right, so let's put that on a piece of black cardstock. So I'm going to need this again because, again, like I said, I was not prepared at all. I always like to look and see that you guys are laughing because I know you're laughing with me. At least I hope you are. And I'm cutting this down to 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. And this is definitely going to be one of those cards that we do kind of, long ways fold. I could have done it that way and put the heart. Either way actually looks good, but I feel like it should be in that direction. Now I could put it on a piece of Sandy Beach as the background, or I think it might pop. I think the ocean just kind of gets lost. I think it might pop more if it's on white. Yeah, you can really see that ocean more when it's on white. Is anybody else as absolutely bananas about this color as I am? I love it. Anything that color, everything. I mean, like my mouse, everything I have is that color. It's so calming and peaceful. And even in the dead of winter, when you see that color, you just feel beachy and sunny inside. Okay, there we go. So there's my matted piece. And then I'm going to use my Score Buddy. And Tom and I are going to be playing a little this weekend with our feed to see if we can change things up a little bit to get even a higher quality video for you. And somebody asked me in the group today, was I going to continue with my lives? Because, things are opening up now. But I am, because I love this format. I love being with you guys. I love reading your comments and interacting. And I kind of love creating on the fly. It's really good for me. And it makes me kind of dig through old stamp sets. And I love that too. Okay, so I'm going to tape that down. I think I might change the schedule a little bit though for the summer because Tom and I are going to do a little bit of camping, which means we'll probably leave on Friday to go camping. Camping seems like a great vacation type of thing to do. I feel like that's not perfectly straight. It's a great vacation thing to do when you're social distancing because you can bring your own food and you're just kind of vacationing around other people but not really near them. So we're going to do some camping and we'll probably leave on Fridays. So I might switch to a Monday, Wednesday schedule for these lives just during the summer. But definitely, pardon me, I think we're definitely going to keep going. So what do you think? Is that just kind of a fun, simple card? I like it. And I do feel like I could absolutely send this to a girl too. I know I could send this to Jennifer because Jennifer loves anything turquoise. And she always loves the ocean. She posts a lot about the Caribbean, so she'd probably love that card. But that's the thing about this kind of thing. Anybody would love this card, so it's definitely good for masculine purposes. All right, so I'm going to put this one aside, and then I'm going to do something a little different for the next one. These cards I'm whipping through tonight. So let's see. Let me get a piece of cardstock here. I'm going to cut this one down to 3 3/4 by 5. And then I'm going to do one of my favorite techniques that always works well for masculine cards, and that is wood graining. But instead of just streaking down the card with the ink pad, I'm going to put floorboards in first. So I'm going to do that by scoring this piece of cardstock on the 1/4 inch marks. So this is 3 3/4 inches. I'm going to go to, should I do 1/4 inch or should I do 1/2 inch? You know, 1/2 inch would be cool. I think I'm going to do that. So I'm going to cut this down. The thing about it is if you're going to do 1/2 inch marks, you might be better off going to that 3 1/2 by 4 3/4 size panel. And one of the stamp sets that I do not have in my collection here, I have it at work, that would be great with wood graining is any of our beachy sets like By the Sea or Gifts from the Sea or By the Sea Too. So any of those would work really well, but I have something here that I think will be okay. So I'm going to do these at the 1/2 inch mark. And I like working backwards instead of this way because working this way, I don't know, my finger gets in the way. So this is at 3 1/2 inches. So my first line is going to be at 3. And I like to press it a couple times. 3, then 2 1/2, then 2, then 1 1/2, and then 1. Now, if your fingers get in the way here, you can always flip it over and then do that last one at the 3 mark. Because sometimes when you're trying to hold it, you can slip and then it shifts around. So that puts some boards in there, and that's going to give it more of a, like a plank feel. Okay, so let's start with warm cocoa. Warm cocoa is a great color ink for this. So if you've never done wood graining before, it's really simple. It is a lot easier to do with an ink pad than it is with an ink cube, although I have done it with an ink cube. The thing that I do recommend is doing something that has a straight edge. So these rectangle pads, square ink pads, something with a straight edge. If it has a curved edge, it's harder to do the wood graining technique because you're actually going to put that edge down and you're going to pull straight down. So we're going to do that like that. And then I'm going to flip it. You see those lines, the ink doesn't sink down into these lines, which I love because that kind of really makes it feel more like a board. And then I'm going to go over it again with another color. I'm going to do just a little bit of dark chocolate, and I'm going to have a really super light hand with it. So this is dark chocolate, just a super light hand. I just want to add a little bit of that darkness to it. Okay. Now these look like very nice wood boards. So I want to add a little something else in there to make it look a little bit more distressed. And I think I'm going to use a little sea glass in there. Okay. So I'm just going to add a little bit of that. Can you see how that kind of, I don't know if you're able to see that as well, but it just kind of makes it look like, almost like moldy maybe. Not moldy, but you guys know what I'm talking about, right? It just adds a little something in there. And you can do anything that you want with these. Let me see what other colors I can throw in here. I think I have a gray somewhere. I have a gray. I have soft stone. You can add a little gray in there. And it just adds a real kind of rusticness about it. So I like the way that looks. And then I like how close to the top, it gets really kind of like almost like it's got a little wood rot. It makes me laugh, but you know, that's what we're doing here. Wood rot. I think I might go over those little lines with a bit of, get some of that a little bit more vibrant. Okay. So now we're going to put something over the majority of this anyway, but I just wanted to show you some of that color in there, how you can do that. You can add it wherever you want. It's really pretty, isn't it? Okay. So I'm going to get a piece of white cardstock to mount this on. I have a quarter sheet here of cardstock and my paper cutter, because I definitely think that this is almost too dark to look good mounted on black. So let's see. I was at 3.5, so I'm going to go up to 3 5/8. And then I was at 4 3/4, so I'm going up to 4 7/8. So whatever you were at, just go up 1 more eighth of an inch, and that will give you a really nice skinny border. Yeah, see, I feel like it needs the white. Wait, I'm not all the way in the seam here. There we go. It needs that white border. That just finishes it off so nicely. Okay, so let's do this. We'll tape that onto the white. Now, depending on what image we use is going to determine which direction I go in here. I feel like I want to do something a little bit more beachy feeling. So I have this stamp set by Teresa Momber called The Wetlands. Let me get another piece of cardstock so you can see this a little better. I was thinking maybe this image, but that's so big. That's going to take up so much of the card. You know, if I cut that out in white, could use this. Well, let me see what else I have here. Ooh, I could do something really simple, like a leaf and then a greeting over it. I think I'm going to do that. We are totally doing it on the fly here, guys. Okay. So this is skeleton leaves, and I really like this stamp set. So I might, let me see what dies I have close by. I have circles and I have ovals. So if I did something small, like a smaller circle down here, I might be able to do a little bit of gray twine or brown twine with it. Something like that. Yeah, I think I'll do that. Okay, so let's go with a circle and a leaf. So that's a big circle with a leaf. See, I think I love leaves, and I just want to say this because I think that I buy all the flowers. I don't care. I love everybody's flower stamps. Flowers are my thing, so I have to have all the flowers. And then I go to make a guy's card, and all I have in my collection are flowers. But the leaf is the masculine flower. It's the one thing that you can use. It's still nature. It's still foliage. You know, if you have line art versions, you can do all your fancy Copic coloring and watercoloring. So make sure you have some leaves in your collection because they are the masculine flower. Okay, let's use this maple leaf. I believe that's a maple leaf. And so I'm going to stamp that first onto this piece of white cardstock. Why does time go so fast when we're together? I look at the clock and I'm like, no, I have too many more ideas left. I might want to do something else with this stamp set. So let's go with, okay, we could be really creative and do a super light leaf and then a big dark greeting over it. Yeah, let's do that. So let's go with warm cocoa. That might not be really light, but it will be lighter than black. Okay, so we'll stamp that. Oh, I love that. It is dark though. So I think I might do my greeting like under it or on the side of it. So let's see here. If I cut it out here, then I really need a small greeting. So I could go bigger, the circle, that'd be really big. Now let's do this. We could even stamp a greeting right on the wood. So let's cut this out. And this is definitely gonna have to be textured. It's gonna have to have a lot of sponging in there, I think. When I say sponging, I mean ink blending. So let's cut that out first. So I'm gonna flip the camera. Let me just look at one more thing here. You know, that would work. And then, see, I have to change my mind 18 times before I decide. See, we're all the same. Grateful, hello, thanks. Oh boy, there's so many options. Oh, you know, I could put one of these in here. I don't know if you guys have seen this set. This is birthday greetings. And this has all these different birthday greetings to stamp on the outside. And then it's got coordinated greetings to stamp on the inside. So here's an oops. And then inside you can stamp like birthday wishes or oops, birthday wishes. And then inside you can stamp sorry I'm late, hope it was great. So I could do something like a birthday greetings one. You know what? I think I just need to restamp this so I can go with a bigger oval. Let's do that. I can save that for something else. But I need to have my greeting done. So let's do birthday greetings here for this. I should do oops because I'm always late. I panicked and sent my nephew and brother-in-law's card out in the mail. Those cards that we made on Wednesday night, they went out on Thursday. So I'm hoping that they're going to get them in time. So I'm going to stamp this with charcoal brown. Now, if you guys are looking for a brown that stamps nice and dark like black, but works better with the warm tones of, you know, the crafts and the ivory cardstock and all of that, charcoal brown is really the ticket. It is a nice dark brown, but it's just not as harsh as black. So I'm going to stamp that down here like that. And then I'm going to pick a leaf. First, I'm going to lay the oval out that I want to use. So if I used this oval, then I would probably need a smaller leaf. So I could use like this one or even this one. I'll use this one. Look how cool that works. I got to get it close, but that's going to be the one. All right. So I'm going to use this leaf. I don't know my trees, so I'm not sure what kind of leaf that is. So if anybody knows, feel free to throw it in the comments. I am need to brush up on my arboring. I don't know. Okay, so I could use a different color in here. Okay, I'm gonna go back to the the warm cocoa for the leaf. Did anybody tell me yet what kind of leaf that is? Liquid amber? Oh, maple. That's maple? I thought the other one was maple. This isn't a maple leaf? Do I have that wrong? Maybe they're both maples. I guess not all maples are exactly the same. I didn't even think of that. Should I two-tone this? No. I'm just going to stamp it right in there. Yes. Okay. I could put a little turquoise in, couldn't I? Maybe sponge just gently a little bit of turquoise to kind of play in with the background there. I'm going to do that, but I'm going to give that a second to dry. So maybe it is another kind of maple leaf. I just know it looks like a leaf I've seen before. That's why I don't homeschool, because my kids wouldn't know that there were different kinds of trees. Oh, goodness. Okay, so let's see here. I want to go with my sea glass for this. I'm just going to add a tiny bit of sea glass. I'm going to test it on this one. Yes. So we'll just add a little bit in here. Not a lot. Just a little hint of color. Just to play off of what's in there. And in fact, before that dries completely, I'm going to get a little piece of paper towel and just kind of rub on that. There we go. All right. I could add gray too, but maybe I'm just kind of going a little overboard. But it's fun. I mean, that's the fun thing. If you can't sit and relax and have fun and try things, what are you doing, right? It's crafting. All right, I'm going to bring my front shot in because I am going to cut this with this die right here. This is the double-stitched ovals die. And I like to do the front camera. If you're just watching me for the front, I like to use the front camera for this because I can't get this machine underneath this camera. It just doesn't work. All righty. So I will cut that out. And then I'm going to cut out, I'll use some either dark chocolate or charcoal brown. Did I already put a dent in that? Yeah, I did. Okay. All right. It's a little close on the one side, but we're going with it. So I think I'll go with like a charcoal brown or a dark chocolate. And this is my finished leaf here. I guess I could go back to the overhead for this to show you. So there it is all cut out. And then I'm going to, I like to match my layer of my oval with my layer of my back panel. So what I might do is some sponging on here to kind of age this a little bit and then do a white oval. Well, let's see. Let me just do one more thing. I want to grab a piece of this. Oh, this might be a really pretty background for it. Craft. Do you guys love craft cardstock? I think craft is going to be my cardstock for this card. I'm going to cut that off over here on my big paper cutter because I want to do one of these long kind of cards. And maybe I'll just leave it like that. Does it really need to be mounted on something? No, it does not. That's a fallacy. It doesn't always need to be mounted on something. It can be a little bit more simple. Okay, so let me grab my score buddy, and I'm going to score this at 4 1/4. I'm sorry, at 5 1/2. That would be weird. 5 1/2. And then I think that is the perfect color background for this card. Isn't that nice? It's just so nice and rugged. And then this can kind of go off to the side here. And I can do a little twine maybe. Should I do some twine? I could do a twine ribbon. Have you ever seen me do a like this? Let me show you. We'll see how it looks. I'll do the ribbon, and then if it doesn't work, we won't use it. But I'm cutting a nice big piece of twine here. I mean, it's really long. It's out of the camera long. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold it between my pinky and my thumb, and I'm going to wrap it around my 2 fingers like a few times, like that. Then I'm going to feed this piece through my 2 fingers so it comes out the other side. And then I've got a loop here. And I'm going to go over the loop and through. So like over the river and through the woods, like that kind of thing. So over the loop and through. And then I'm going to pull back on that. And that gives me like a cute little embellishment bow. See how that looks? And you can kind of adjust it like that. That's the way to get the tails even. That's not always easy to do. These Tim Holtz scissors are amazing for cutting ribbon or twine because they're serrated, and so it doesn't grab. I mean, it grabs a little bit, so you get a nice clean cut. So we could add that onto the card. Even though it's a masculine card, I still think that maybe ribbon might be a little bit too fancy, but twine seems a little bit more masculine. So we could put that off to the side like that as an embellishment. We could also throw it down here like that. Let's do that. We'll just pop it right on there. We could use Connect glue for it, or we can use one of the Zots by Thermoweb. I don't know if I have Zots here at home. I should have everything here at home. Here are Zots. So these, I like these. These are, these come on a roll, and you just touch the ribbon or embellishment to the Zot. I don't know if you can see the Zot. I'm going to see if I can point it out to you. Can you see that there's a little goobery thing right there? That's a Zot. It's actually just gluey tape that you can touch an embellishment to. It picks it up off there, and then you pop it on. So if you're not a big fan of wet glue or waiting for glue to dry, or you just need something that isn't liquid, you just need tape, but tape isn't enough, Zots are great. All right, so I'm going to put this on here. Before I do that, I think I'm going to add a little twine around the belly of this card, and then I might pop that on the side. So what I'm going to do is, this is going to be weird, but I think it'll work. I just kind of got 4 pieces together, and then I'm going to put tape down the side here. And I'm going to just put this like right here. And then I'm going to flip the card over. Isn't that kind of cool the way that looks? Looks almost like rope. And then I'm going to adhere it to the other side, like right on the tape. And then before I do anything to that, I'm going to actually use some Scotch tape. I'm going to tape it down so it's not going to move. Well, that was dumb. I can't tape it so that it goes past the edge. Just cut it. There we go. Okay. Then you can get rid of all this excess. I've got tape stuck to me everywhere. If that, you don't want that on there, you can get rid of that. Okay. Hang on, I'm getting my tape off my hands. All right, and then, so now you've got kind of this cool twine, but you can't tie twine around a card. Twine doesn't let you do that. Twine is not helpful. So I'm going to actually put some tape onto the Scotch tape too, so that it sticks down there and it kind of helps hold it all together. And sorry, it's hard to see over my camera. I have to kind of like look over the camera. Okay, so that's a way to get twine across the center of the card. And then we'll pop this up with some foam squares. I know they were here a minute ago. Oh, that was another night. And I only have the black ones here, but it doesn't really matter because they really don't show through on the card. So I'm just going to use 4. I'm not going to put one in the middle because that's going to go right over the, right over where we don't want it. What did I do to my things? Oh no, I'm out. Oh, all right. We will make it work. Let me get my scissors here. I'm going to cut this on an angle, put one there, and one there. Don't try that at home, folks. That's not okay. It's not okay to run out of foam squares. All right, so I'll put that in the center. The reason why I didn't put one here is because this is bulky. So top and bottom should do it. I'm using my lines to line up this thing so I know it's in the center. Okay, and then we'll kind of put that there so it looks like you were the fanciest tire, that you tied all of that around and came up and made a ribbon, and you didn't do any of that. I love that. All right, so we're going to find that zot. There it is. And here's a nice bubbly one. And then we're going to just pick the zot up. And then the zot is going to go right onto there. See, that's on there. That's not going to go anywhere. That was easy, right? That only took a half hour. But I didn't know what I was doing. So now that I know what I'm doing, we could mass produce that card pretty quickly. That's an easy card. That was just a few tricks, twine tricks and ocean boards. That looks like boardwalk to me. So there's my second card for the night. So let's bring that first one in. Okay, it's still there. I still see it. It's lighter, but I still see it. And it does look like you wrote it in the sand. So that's fun. And then there's the other card. So two masculine cards. Of course, ladies like leaves too, and they certainly like the ocean, so they could be used for anybody. But I feel like if you're strictly trying to make a card for a guy, either one of these would work out really well. So this will be for my husband for Father's Day. I love you in the sand. And then this I can save for a birthday. All right. So those are my two cards. It is already, it's almost 5 to 8. So I really don't have time to do anything else except leave you with a closing quote. But I really, really love, did you see the ring light in my glasses? I really, really love our time together. And I hope that this was fun for you. Now, as far as the twine goes, I know some of you are probably like, wait, what? And I get that. I have a video called, 5 ways to make bows. I have all kinds of ideas for cheaters bows, easy bows that anybody can make. And this style of bow is in there. So if you go to my YouTube channel, you can search in somebody's YouTube channel. You just kind of look across the top bar and there's a search this channel. You can type in bows and that video will come up for you. Or if you type in bows, Gina K, you can type that right into YouTube and that video should probably come up too. I can also find it and link it underneath the video over on YouTube. So if you're watching on Facebook, head over to the YouTube channel to find that link and I will do that tonight. Well, everybody, it's been such a wonderful night with all of you. Friday night, PJ party, sweatshirt, comfy stuff. I will be back on Monday. I'm going to take a little weekend with my husband, have a little bit of relaxing time. Our topic tonight was real friends. And my final quote for the evening is, a strong friendship doesn't need daily conversations or being together every minute. As long as the relationship lives in the heart, true friends are never apart. Thank you guys so much for being here. You know, I love you all so very much. I'll see you again next week. Have a great week.